Hey guys, welcome back. So it's Friday. It's a couple hours before market close. Just wanted to get out one last quick video. Um, I said I wasn't gonna. I said we were kind of finished with our indicator, and for the most part, that's true. Other than some tweaking, we have about an 80% win rate. Um, Most people would stop there. I'll put it to you that way. Take the 80% and start trading with that. I'm happy with 80%, but I am not. I'm not content with that. I really want to push this to that 85%, 90% win rate if we can get there, and just make the best indicator there is out there. So how do I do that with what we have? What is the indicator missing? You know, so I finally have an idea of how to do that. It might take a little while, so we'll probably start trading. Like I said, I'm going to spend a lot of time this week, today and this weekend, um, tweaking this indicator. All right, and that in itself is going to be hours and hours of work. That being said, I think there's some improvement that we can, for now, go off the charts with, and it just kind of plays back into that whole. It's a trending indicator, right? We're following the trend, right? So how can we do that better? And as I was speaking at my class, as I was getting ready to speak, and it's funny that talking your own book can actually help you see things more clearly. But what I was able to see and kind of teach is, again, following the trends, right? So why don't we just follow the trends, like exactly, not look at quite signals. And I'm gonna have to. By the way, I'm gonna have to translate these into signals, which I have an idea of how I'm gonna do it, but it's not gonna be like an overnight thing. Um, but what I'm talking about is just following the larger trends. Okay, so this is the hourly chart. I'm just gonna go off the hourly for this video, because this is where we're at with the tweaking with the indicator and all that, right? So you get these signals, right? And let's just look at let's look at this last uptrend. So where we're at here, right? So we're in a clear uptrend on the hourly chart from here. We were in a small downtrend here, back into a clear uptrend, right? So if we're in an uptrend, what would we look to take? Probably call options, right? We would probably ignore the sell signals, is what I'm getting at here. That's kind of my point. Or go ignore the call or ignore the sell signals, or just go heavier on calls. Is what I'm getting at. So if we did something like this in this uptrend, what would that look like? Let's zoom in and let's see. So if we only played the calls, obviously something like this, would be, especially if we had um, uh, our repeat signals on, something like this would be great for us, So you have this sell signal here. This ended up working out, but look at where the real money is being made. The calls, right? Because we're in an uptrend. Okay, so buy signal there. You have a buy signal here that just went ape shit. Here you have a sell signal, okay? Now, you may have been able to scrape a few percent here, maybe, depending on where you got in, you could have made maybe 20, 30%, maybe more. But on the calls, you're making over 100%, okay? Here's another little buy. Okay, maybe you made your 30, 40% here. Here you have a sell signal. Here you have a false signal. So this is a play that did not work. Okay, why? Because we're in an uptrend. Okay, here's a buy signal. All right, another little, probably 40-50% play here. Not bad. I'll take those all day. Okay, here you have another sell signal. All right, and this is at a pivot point. So what I mean by that is, um, we're in, we're coming out of a downtrend. So this is one that's going to be kind of in limbo, right? Because we're neither in a uptrend or a downtrend. So here on this sell signal, you actually were able to make money, but you could argue that this was part of this sell signal, because we are in what? We are in a downtrend. See the red line? We are headed down. Okay. So let's just turn these off for a second, so we can get a little bit better look. I was just kind of trying to show you something. Again, just looking at if we have our repeat signals off, here you have a sell signal, right, which ended up working out. Okay, nice gains, probably something like 100% there. And then if you had the repeat signals on, you had quite a few different opportunities to play some sell signals and make some money. Here you have a buy signal, all right, which you would ignore. Okay, now again, if you look at this buy signal, this was a false signal. Okay, but we're in a downtrend, so we would ignore something like this. Okay, and again, this is probably one that's kind of at a pivot point. Probably these two are kind of at, like, you can see where it's literally right where they intersect, right? So we're kind of going sideways here. Here on the sell signal, yeah, you probably made some money. But again, kind of going to my point, look, this is now part of this big uptrend that we were in here. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see. Okay, so here's the next thing we're going to look at is this little downtrend. But right now, let's look at this uptrend. Okay. So let's start here. Obviously, this buy signal here was a big win. It was at a pivot point. Maybe you got in later, regardless of where you got in. And again, that's something that with our indicator with the repeat signals is great, because, yeah, maybe you ignore the initial one because we're at a pivot, but then you get another one. Okay, there's your sign to get in, or you can get in late. Maybe you don't trust that one. Okay, let's go in this one. Here we are in a clear uptrend. You could have gotten in here and made some money there, etc. Made some money. So that's what's really good about what I really like about the repeat signals, is it really helps you kind of double down and ride your winners. You really want to ride those winners into the sun. Especially when you're in a clear uptrend like this. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit more here. Okay, look, you get a sell signal here, right? False signal. Why? Because we're in an uptrend. Okay, buy signal. All right, works out great. Nice buy. Nice, probably 200% play there, something like that. Then you get a sell signal here, right? What happens? It's a false signal. All right. Next signal is a buy. We play that because we're in an uptrend. Here you have a sell signal. It works out great. All right. Now look how far we are from the trend line. That's a good sign that maybe we can drift back towards it. That's another thing. But again, if you did the same thing over here, it was a false signal. So you don't have to say, oh, I'm not going to play puts at all, but you should play the calls much heavier in an uptrend is my point. Or if that's too much, just don't play the puts at all. If you play the calls, only play the calls. You can see here, I don't think I've been pointed out one false signal that wasn't at a pivot point, in a particular trend. I'm sure there will be one or two, but let's keep on going. So again, you get your buy signal here, right? Great win here, huge win. Sell signal is really a minuscule win. It's not quite a false signal, but it's a small win. Look at it compared to the buy signal. All right, here you go again. Sell signal, really small win here. Buy signal is probably 3 times as much. All right, sell signal, false signal, Buy signal right after that. Huge win. Sell signal. Really small win. Buy signal. About 3 times the win as the sell signal. All right. Same thing over here. Sell signal. All right. Really, really small win. If you want to zoom in, when I say really small win, here's your sell signal. All right. So you got in somewhere around here at 510, maybe, yeah, about 510. And then you could have ridden this down to like 508. That's a small win. I mean, it's still probably like, I don't know, like 30% or something. But in the relative scheme of things, I'm trying to show you where the meteor wins are, and they are in the bigger, the larger trends. This is about as closest to a false signal as we've seen here, and this is actually a nice win here. The next day you start at 520, and we jumped up to 523. You're looking at something like 40, 50, maybe more percent. So again, sell signal here, and here's where you get hairy, right? So this is where you're going to see more of your false signals, is where the trend is trading. Remember I said these are trend-based signals, right? So where wherever the trend ends, that's where our signals are going to get hairy. That's where we're going to see the quote-unquote bad signals or false signals. And again, so there's that uptrend, and let's just go over one more, not to beat a dead horse here, but let's go over this last bigger uptrend or downtrend here, right? So here is our pivot point here, right? So we're still technically, I guess you could say, we're still in an uptrend here. And this is where, again, it gets kind of hairy because you're at a pivot. I didn't draw a green line here, but you can see we're in a clear uptrend here. And we don't really start to come out of that until something like here. So the green line, here's our intersection, and here's where our false signals are, like real false signals would be. And you can see that's kind of there with the sell signal. Again, there should be a green line here. Remember how I said they intersect? So this is where things are going to get hairy. So you get a sell signal here. It's kind of like, and then the buy signal actually plays out pretty well. But again, it's in that intersection point. Now here, imagine a green line. I guess I could just draw one real quick. I'll draw a half-ass one real quick. All right, I'm not gonna spend too much time on that, but just so you can see kind of what I'm talking about. So here we're obviously in like a clear uptrend here, right? So here's kind of our intersection point. So these are kind of the iffy ones, right? But again, here where you have your sell signal here, because this is kind of the intersection point. So the buy signal worked great. The sell signal did not. And again, this is really at the beginning of the intersection. That's probably where your false signals are going to come the most. But again, even if you were to ignore something like this, I would imagine there would be a sell signal somewhere around here. Let's see how good I am here. And yeah, you have a few. So you could wait till you get out of that kind of green path and then enter on this sell signal or this one and make some money. So, or that one. So let me turn the repeat signals off to kind of clean things up a little bit. So and then let's just go over this last downtrend. You guys get the point. I'm not going to keep doing this all video. So sell signal worked out. Buy signal, believe it or not, worked out. But where does it work out? It bounces off the trend line. That's another thing you can look at. You can look at playing bounces off the trend line, okay? So you could ignore the buy signals that are kind of, look at this one. Here's your false signal. This is kind of what I'm talking about here, right? So you could ignore the buy signals altogether, or you could only play the ones that are bouncing off trend lines, where there's support basically. Like this one right here. Great play, huge play, right? And it bounced right off the downtrend line, okay? Sell signal here worked out great. Sell signal here worked out great. Look, we didn't quite bounce. That's because I didn't draw this great, but it's probably more like something like that. Look what happened. Look, this signal came late. Obviously, it worked out, but look, we're bouncing off this trend line. So that's where you could play the opposite sides. Is where I would look to probably play the opposite sides. Is like bouncing where it bounces or where it's close to bouncing off the trend line. And again, sell signal worked out great. Sell signal worked out great. Sell signal worked out great. All right. Why? Because we're in a downtrend. Okay. So for now, we're going to look at the charts and take that into consideration. I'm sure if you look at this in really any aspect, you're going to see the same thing. Here's the daily chart. And look, it just, it's just saying the same thing. You know what I mean? You can see you're zooming out. Remember I said when you're looking at charts, you're zooming in and zooming out. So here's the daily chart, right? So we zoomed out. Now, if we want to zoom in, let's say I want to look at this uptrend a little bit more. I want to look at this area right here a little bit more. Okay, now we zoom into the hourly chart, right? Okay, let's say I want to zoom in a little bit more. So I look at the 15-minute chart, all right? And that zooms me in a little bit more. I could zoom in even more if I went to like the 1-minute chart, anyways, that's the next and probably the last thing. I think that's the last missing ingredient to turning this into the quote unquote perfect indicator. And you should never look at any one indicator. Yes, but when my indicator has 5 of my indicators that I look at into it, it's okay to look at the one. Because it has those 5 inputs in there. It's not looking at one indicator. You're looking at 5, even though it's rolled into one buy and sell indicator. So anyways, that's something that I just noticed. It's not really any different than, remember I say when I teach you guys, okay, look at the hourly chart, and then if the hourly chart is on a buy, then you zoom into the 5-minute chart and you're only going to play calls. It's really no different than that. It's just you're looking at it differently, but it works out to the same result is what I'm getting at. So definitely take that, if you're not already looking into your trading, and that's something that I really haven't really harped on, because I kind of went with the other side of that, which is like, okay, with the hourly's on a buy, go to 5-minute. If the daily chart's on a buy, go to the hourly, only play calls there. So this is kind of another side of this, and this might be easier for some of you guys to look at too. And it might give you a better a better way to look at it, I guess. So anyways, if you want this really, really good content, this is really good content for free, like and subscribe, and leave a comment below. See, if you like the content, if there's stuff that you agree with, disagree with, if there's something that you think it works better, or something that you like, that you integrated in a previous video or even in this video that made the light bulb go on, go ahead and leave a comment. So anyways, appreciate you guys watching, and enjoy your weekend.